All right, it looks like we're live. We're just going to check things if you're here watching right off the bat.
Okay, I see
Sweet.
us.
Okay, so you should be able to take it and share it. Let me know if that works. For those of you that are going to tune in, I don't see any, well, I see one person. Kathleen and I are here to chat about BU, the retreat for admin in real estate. And so Kathleen is just going to share the live to her personal page so that her people can see it as well. But I'm really excited to have some time to share with you all, oh, sweet, about the retreat. And I asked Kathleen if she would come on and kind of be the host and ask me questions because usually I'm the one talking about it. Excuse me. And it's nice to have somebody else who also has the real estate agent in mind, along with the admin, to help you all see the benefit of sending your admin to this retreat. So, for those of you that are maybe watching that have never met either one of us, my name is Margaret Smith. I'm the CEO of I Love It When, a coaching and consulting and retreat facilitation company, and Kathleen Metcalf with, do we say Kathleen Metcalf Coaching still, or are we?
We are still. We have a
Okay.
new branding coming out, but it's not coming out for 4 weeks.
Yes. So I'll let you introduce yourself first before I say anything else.
So I'm Kathleen Metcalf, the CEO of Kathleen Metcalf Coaching and Training. The name of my LLC is Inspired for Results, but we have some new collaborations coming out. And so we have a new brand announcement happening in April. So we work with real estate administrative professionals and their agents to create the future of real estate teamwork in systems documentation, hiring, admin, training, and coaching operations professionals to be their best and really be partners with salespeople in running real estate, residential, and commercial property management businesses.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I'm so excited for the new brand that you have coming out. It's why I am almost on like the edge of my seat and saying it every time we talk now.
Good stuff.
Uh,
Because we just celebrated 10 years. We just
yeah.
celebrated 10 years in business. And last year I had 20 years in real estate. So this is really an incredible labor of love of birthing this new rendition of what real collaboration can really look like. So it's going to be exceptional. Already is. We just haven't taken all the cover off yet.
Yes. And so the reason I'm asking Kathleen also to come on here and kind of be the host and ask questions is because guess what, people? She's going to be at the retreat. She's going to be at the retreat. And I know so many of your clients have never had the opportunity to meet you in person. And so I'm going to be announcing you and I as speakers. I've already announced two of the speakers, but I'm going to be announcing us as speakers because that's also something that I've never done before is speak at one of my own events. And I am having you come as a collaborator because we do BU the Inner Circle membership together.
Yes.
And a lot of the people who are coming are in that inner circle, but this is open to any admin or operations person from any brokerage in any role.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathleen has been to my retreats. She's seen me doing them, and I'm really excited to have her come in this capacity and be alongside me as another coach there. It's going to be really an amazing experience. So
Yes. And so we co-found BU, the Inner Circle, the membership for real estate admin professionals. We open the doors periodically for new members. We have a 12-month success path, and we have founding members still with us. And we have seen incredible leadership come out of the membership. As a participant at Mo's retreats, I have, I was online because it was COVID quarantine. And then I had Mo speak at one of my events in Los Angeles in 2019, pre-COVID. And so, but I haven't led a live event since 2019, I guess, because then it was COVID and here we are, right? We're just all coming out of the cocoon again.
yes.
Fly and travel. And so in looking at, the work that Mo does in I Love It When and with BU, I see the dedication and the skill and the tools to be able to have administrative professionals around the BU retreat step into authentic leadership. And so one of the connections that Margaret and I made in the very beginning of our connection, which was 2018, 2019, was we could see the evolution and the revolution that needs to happen in the administrative professional world in order to best serve themselves and in order to best serve their agents and brokers so that there really is partnership And that requires some coaxing sometimes. It requires a platform. It requires experiences for operations administrative professionals to have so that they can step into that kind of leadership.
Mhm.
Agents go to Tony Robbins, right?
Robin.
They walk on fire and they go to the big retreats and they have one-on-one coaching. And many administrative professionals do not have access to that kind of experience.
Mhm.
So we have designed different kinds of experiences, and Mo has designed this BU retreat. So let's talk about and break down, well, how would you know you should go? How do you know that this is the right event for you? How do you know as an agent or a broker or a team leader, whether or not you should sponsor and invest in something like this for people that are on your team or in your organization? So I think we should walk through some of that.
Yes, I love that.
So Margaret, when you look at people applying to come to the retreat, what is usually something that they either want to get out of it, or what is a problem that they are trying to solve?
I would say one of the number one problems that the real estate agent or their operations staff is looking to solve is how do they help them get to the next level of leadership? Because they may have been hired as, there's so many different titles for admin across industries, but let's, for example, say they may have been hired as an executive assistant, and the real estate agent now wants them to be their chief operating officer or their director of operations, which to them holds more responsibility, more leadership, perhaps some management of agents or management of admin, but it's next level. And they're just not really sure. They see the potential, they see the possibility that that admin could fit that role or fill that role, but they don't know what do they need to do to help them get there. Like, how do we infuse them with some sort of magic potion that gets them to be that person? And so I find often that they're coming looking for these leadership skills, for what I would call also soft skills, which are not often taught, because oftentimes you'll find at conferences or classes that they'll talk about databases, the best database, the best drip campaigns, how to hire people, how to manage, how to retain people, but they're not often talking about these other leadership skills that are not clearly defined. So how do you get someone to step up into that place and build that confidence? And so they're typically looking for something like that to help them help their admin get to that next level. So that's one problem I've identified that real estate agents come to me often. Like, how do I get her to have the confidence to speak up in a meeting and to object to something that I say? I don't want just a whole bunch of yes people around me. I want an admin who's going to say, actually, wait, have you thought about this? Or no, we should not do this, and here's why. And a lot of times admin they're not coming with that confidence built in. It's just it's a new skill for a lot of people, including myself at the time. That's a big reason why I did this. Yeah.
And what do you see are some of the stumbling blocks to why operations or admin people don't speak up or don't step forward or don't take those what may be considered risks or may be considered conflict or may be considered being even disrespectful if they were to speak up? What are some of the challenges that you see people have to get beyond or the agent is witnessing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I never want to generalize or stereotype, but I was one of those who, I can use myself as an example. I am more of an introvert, meaning I gain my energy from being alone. My personality style is naturally not, I'm not going up to people and saying, hey, I'd like to have a fierce conversation with you. I'd like to have like conflict with you right now. I like stability. I like safety. And also that's kind of what employees are looking for. They don't want to be entrepreneurs because they want the safety of a paycheck. And so when you have that kind of personality style or that desire, which can be very admirable to help somebody else build a business, you don't always have the tendency to want to object to something that your employer is saying they want you to do. It's not in our natural character to do that. And so some of the stumbling blocks would be, I don't think I'm supposed to behave that way. I've never been taught to speak up or to have an opinion or to say no. A lot of people just don't have that kind of, we're not really taught that in school. Like nobody's really taught that. Just like a lot of real estate agents are never really taught how to manage people. Same kind of thing, same kind of problem. And so the stumbling blocks are just them realizing that they have a fabulous perspective, They're helping to build the systems and processes of your business. So their eyes are on everything. Their eyes are in places that we don't want you to be, because we want you as a real estate agent to be lead generating and going out there and making it rain and doing what you're best at while they're doing what they're best at. And so a lot of this is just helping them realize that their perspective plays an important part. And so oftentimes that requires us encouraging and also asking them for their opinion. Mm-hmm. And so some of those stumbling blocks are really just, I think, their personal beliefs around what their role is as a business person, as a business partner to the real estate agent.
And do you find that sometimes agents, team leaders, brokers, supervisors think that just time and position, it will happen naturally, or that if someone's been, or knows about contracts and disclosures and is really good at their job, mm-hmm. that this could or would or should just happen all
just evolve magically? Just evolve. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it makes sense too for us to think that as humans, like the longer you do something, the better you'll get, which means all of your skills will just develop. But the truth is, I always go back to that, I forget whose quote this is, but the definition of insanity is trying to get doing the same thing over and over again, trying to get a different result. And so we as humans, we're constantly evolving and learning. And you want to surround yourself with new things to learn. There's always different ways to do things. And so I think recognizing that reading books and being surrounded by people who are constantly evolving and learning, that's what's going to help you learn something new or bring back a different tool to your team that you didn't have before. That's where it doesn't matter how good you are at your databases or your drip campaigns or your job or your forms or your transaction coordination. We learn something new by meeting somebody new, by reading a new book, by exposing ourselves to new ways of thinking and being. Yeah.
And what are some of the results, some of the transformations that you have witnessed? And I'm not asking you to call out, people that have been to the retreats, but from some examples of what are some of the transformations that you have seen?
One of the ones I'll never forget is I actually met a real estate agent on the plane one time on the way to a conference. And on the plane, I told him about the retreat and sold the last ticket to the retreat that year to his admin. And he came back to me after the retreat and said, what did you do to her? And I said, what do you mean? What did I do to her? And he said, she's speaking up at meetings. I've never heard her talk this much. She's telling us what to do. She's jumping into our calendar and organizing things and taking initiative. We've wanted her to do this for years, but she just started doing it when she got back from your event. What happened there? And it's stories like that where, it's obvious to me that there's a level of confidence that person reached when they realized in this example, this person was surrounded by people who had a very similar role to her in the room with 40 other admin, all different levels. She heard their stories and she recognized she wasn't alone. Yes. She was like, oh, I thought I had to know everything. I don't have to know everything. I'm good at my job. She had been in the business, I think, for 10 plus years at that point. Mm-hmm. And so it was her getting some perspective and recognizing that she had value to add. And so those stories are probably what happened the most often is the random, real estate agent or CEO that will find me after an event and say, hey, they're taking initiative. They are speaking up more. They're taking charge of different aspects of the business that I've wanted them to, but they haven't before. And then they also have referrals coming in. So I've had a real estate agent from a different state who reached out to me and said, hey, I want to sponsor your retreat, $1,000. And I know Amy McLeod would not care if I mentioned her name. She jumped in and sponsored $1,000 last time. And I was like, why are you doing this? And she said, Margaret, I've probably brought in 3 referrals last year from sending my admin to your retreat because the other admin are thinking of us when they think of Oregon. Yeah. And so she probably made, off of those 3 referrals, who knows how much what her average commission is in Oregon, but she made a good amount of money. So she's like, I spent $1,500, I think was the cost at the time, and I received in return an admin who has more confidence, and I'm getting money. It's a no-brainer. I'm getting paid to send my admin to your event. And that was one of my most fabulous examples because that is exactly what can happen. And that's why I became so passionate about networking and putting myself in those. Send myself to conferences and retreats because once you tell me what's possible, I will make it happen. So once I realized that I had power to bring in referrals and to add to my business for my team, I was excited to do it. And that's exactly what will happen. That's another example of what will happen when you send your admin. They can network. Admin are actually really fabulous at networking.
Right? Because many admin are an island,
Mhm.
depending on what the structure of the team is, the structure of the office. After COVID quarantine, some people work from home now, or they work from home one day a week, or and so the being separated has potentially been magnified for some.
Mhm.
And so if we make a comparison to how agents become successful at being a great agent or being a great team leader or a great broker, right? Many of them then have a mastermind. They have script practice. They go to a conference. They have one-on-one coaching. They may go to a big event like a Tony Robbins kind of event where there is an enormous amount of motivation,
Yes.
inspiration, and then also a camaraderie of seeing, like, I am not alone. I can do this. If they can do it, if they've overcome this, then I could overcome that.
Yes.
And so this is an intimate variation of that same formula.
Mhm.
So this is not 200 people, right? You cap it at 45 people. So how do you come up with who you bring as a speaker? How do you come up with the kind of, I'm not asking you to let all the cats out of the bag about the agenda, but how do you craft the kind of experience that you want the admin to be able to have access to have?
It's a great question. Well, I love how you describe that as the formula for how real estate agents become the best version and the best salesperson for themselves and their business. Because we're no different as admin. We're human. We're human first and foremost, and so we improve much in the same manner. So when I created the retreat, I created from the perspective of an admin. What did I need more of in order to get to the next level? And I needed that inspiration. I needed additional business skills and business acumen. Like I wanted to learn from people who had big businesses so that I could bring that information back to my team and be a better director of operations. So one of the ways that I do that is I intentionally invite people from different teams that I wanted to learn from. So I invite admin from very large teams. I invite admin who maybe are just an admin to one agent, but have a big business. Like all sizes of teams and types of businesses are welcome, including transaction coordination business owners.
Yes, absolutely.
So crafting that group is also part of creating the experience. I'm very intentional with the people that I invite. I'm not just DMing people and saying, hey, I see you're an admin, you want to come? Like a lot of this is meeting people that I've never met before, but it's sharing with them about the experience. So I would say it's the people who come that I'm very intentional with. And then the speakers are a mix of the logical aspect and the inspirational aspect. So they're coming with very distinct items to teach about. So like Enmei Mangels is a great example because she talks about the difference between utilizing your intuition and fear. And a lot of admin, like you said earlier, we kind of have had this tendency in our personality types to be safe, safe, safe. And so sometimes we don't follow our intuition because we're afraid of either how someone's going to react or if we could hurt the business or something like that. And so having Enmei come in and talk about that really helps people begin to trust themselves more and realize that they know when they need to share something or when they need to do something and to follow that. And then along with that, she brings, the intuitive side, which a lot of people have a hard time describing. It's kind of this gray area, like what is intuition really? And can we write about it on paper? Like, is it really real? Right. And it's the same thing with Tony Patillo as an example that I'm bringing in this year. She's a fantastic, you can see from her success that she's had as a real estate agent. She's bringing all this experience in real estate along with all the other things she's done in life and the things she's overcome physically. And so I craft the speakers to make sure that they cover both aspects of that, both the logical and the inspirational piece, because when people are inspired, they will take actions they don't normally take. And so that's the other part is if they leave this retreat, when they leave this retreat, they will feel so jacked and jazzed about realizing all these people that they have around them, supporting them, that they will come back and they will do something they don't normally do. Who knows what it'll be? It might be saying something that they wouldn't normally have said, like those agents have said before, or maybe creating an event for your team. Maybe they actually organize a retreat for your own company so that you don't have to hire someone. Like the possibilities are endless. And so the speakers and the attendees are really chosen with that in mind. I want them to leave changed, and I want them to leave knowing that they have the power to create change themselves. It's not about me. It's not about the speakers I bring in. They are the ones that can do this. And that's really important to me, for them, for people to realize their power.
So let's talk about worthiness
It's a great topic.
and what it can mean to, I will say, I want to say instill worthiness, but worthiness is something, right, that everyone has to own for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I am sure that the agents, team leaders, brokers listening have been through in their own ways and their own climb to the level of success where they are, that they needed to accept the fact that they were worthy of more.
Mm-hmm.
So what has been your experience of the impact it can make on an admin who is then recognized by their, I'll say, agent generically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who says, I would like to send you to this retreat. Will you go?
Mm-hmm.
And what is it that you see where an operations professional for themselves steps into, I am worthy, I deserve this kind of experience for my own career, for my life, that I want more, right? Even if more is just joy and friends and, but more can also be money and prestige and all those other things that can come along with a career. But what have you seen and what do you see around worthiness and stepping into, yes, I want to go?
That's such a good question. Well, the first thing I'll share that I see is that when a real estate agent offers to send their admin, and the admin didn't expect it or maybe didn't even ask for it, but the agent heard about it from me, their usual first response is like, are you sure? And I'm like, oh my God, don't say no to this. But they have this desire, because there's some fear there, to say, oh my God, you see something in me, you see potential in me. And so when someone sees potential in someone and takes action on that, the ROI is like, it's almost, we can't even fathom what it really is until we begin to see the impact in the physical world around us. Like, it can catapult someone's confidence from nilch to like a whole nother level. And again, it all plays a piece in how they think about themselves. The thoughts that come into their head all impacts how they speak about themselves, how they act, and what they do. So if you're helping to create a different thought process in their head, we can assume that they're probably going to act differently, which is going to get different results in your business and in their personal lives. Right. And so worthiness, when I see someone step into their worthiness, it's like you can see they're like blooming like a flower. Like all of a sudden they're talking about themselves differently. They're opening up to new opportunities. Some of the things that I'll see admin do is they will get asked to be on a podcast, and they have no hesitation in saying yes. Whereas maybe a year ago, they would have said, no, what could I talk about? And so it changes who they believe they are. And therefore it changes the actions they take in the world. And that includes your business. So as a real estate agent, when you help someone step into their worthiness, oh my God, it's like the most beautiful thing to watch. And the ROI of that, it serves everybody around that person.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so what are the benefits to the business that can have for the agent?
Great question.
And I'll just want to pose it that often sales and operations, right, is classically at odds. Mm-hmm. Agents want to take risks. They want to go fast. They want to run. And operations people are often want to be methodical, want things to be specific, measurable, more black and white. So how does that connection between I value you and I value myself, what kind of impact do you see that has on agents' businesses?
There's two sides to it. One's the very black and white kind of tangible piece that we've talked about, which is you could see referrals coming in. You could see your admin meeting people from across the US and getting known in your area, so that when an admin in, like, say, Washington State, where I am, when I think of the East Coast, I think of Erica Wright. She's someone that I always think of, or Olivia O'Toole, or Hallie Warner, like all these different people who have come to my retreats, and I call them up and say, hey, I have someone who needs to buy a house in your area. Would your team like to handle that? So there's the very black and white tangible pieces of referrals. And the other piece is that when you meet people in this setting and you get to know what their talents and skills are, you then have somebody that you can call and say, hey, I always bring up Erica because she's done so many different things. Erica used to run events with 500 plus people. So when she came to my retreat, I knew that I could call Erica up anytime and say, hey, Erica, how did you do this? And all of a sudden, you have not just one operations brain in your business, that one operations brain has access to 44 other brains that they can actually call and get information from, get help from that's outside of their market. So those are some very tangible pieces. The intangible pieces, I would say, are what we've talked about with worthiness and confidence. So it's hard to quantify those, right? It's a really hard thing, I think, when it comes to personal development for people to feel like, oh, yes, I can invest in coaching because I'm going to see the results. A lot of times we can't see those right away. But I always give the example is if you put two admin in front of a database, one who has zero confidence but knows the database well, the other one who knows the database well and has confidence, this person's going to outperform the other in one way, shape, or form. It's always going to happen. And so you're going to have someone who's performing at a different level, which is going to bring different results to your business.
And the other thing I'm thinking is real estate agents as entrepreneurs, brokers, team leaders are always mitigating risk. And administrative operations people are often risk averse. And so this kind of confidence of stepping into, well, how could we do that? What's the possibility? What could we get from that? Okay, how can I help protect your back, right, as the operations person? But what I get to see in my business for operations people with their agents is that these admin are a little more on board, a little faster, sometimes a lot faster with you. Okay, like here's an idea I have. What about those past clients from there that we saw in the database? And what about that event? And I could get that for free. And let me talk to Erica about where we could get that for free, you know. And so the creativity, because the environment for creativity, which we need in a market like this, right? Because not everything is coming at us now. Now we have to create more business. The environment for creativity is all about taking a risk. So you need administrative operations people who are on board with you. Let's try this. Okay, well, let me do some research for you and then make an educated decision, but they're not afraid to make a decision because they're not afraid of failing or it isn't perfect or they're going to look bad, or to be able to step into that is so powerful for getting business results, for thinking out of the box, for picking up the phone even, right, to call past clients that maybe they haven't been willing to do, but now they've just met 44 other people. And so it's like, oh, it's not so scary to talk to people I don't know anymore.
Yes.
And so there's all those benefits that cascade out of that, that we sort of wonder like, well, why don't they just do that naturally? And sometimes it's because they don't have a community. They haven't had that support. They haven't had this kind of encouragement from their team leader and the encouragement from the other admin, right? And then the experience of knowing like, wow, I am really good at my job and I do know things and I do have something to contribute. And so then this begins to step into, yes, I could manage a VA and yes, I'd like to learn that. And so now, you know, everyone is able to grow together.
It's really true. It's the cascading effect, the ripple effect is so cool to see. And the longer I've been doing this, you know, I've been doing it since 2017 was my first one. I'm still seeing the impact 6 years later of people making changes in their lives. And some of those people are in our BU, the inner circle group. And so we get to see it on an even more intimate level, like the things that are happening and unfolding in their lives. And it's incredible. And it gives me so much inspiration, which is exactly why I'm doing it again. Like this is exactly why I'm doing it, is because I'm seeing that it works. It's working. And so I've shared with people now when I email them and I invite them to this event, I say with confidence towards the end of the email, I'm like, I can confidently say that you are going to see a positive impact from this. I've been testing this and doing it for 6 years now. I'm seeing it happen. So I have no doubt in my mind that if you are coming and you're open, you're going to have see the impact and the ripple effect for sure.
Well, and I can say that even from the one during quarantine where it was online, it was still fabulous.
Yeah.
right? And it still made an impact. And I haven't been an admin for a few years, right? But I was still impacted. And it is
Yeah.
an honor, right, to be co-founders at BU, the inner circle with you. And it is an honor to be asked to be there as a speaker, because you and I also, we've been admin. We have grown up through, right?
Yes.
We have started businesses.
Yeah.
And we have a particular passion for this community to be able to see that the more everyone is growing together, the more sustainable the business is, the more
Yeah.
structured and secure it is to be able to go through whatever we're going to go through in whatever market. That having everyone empowered to do that is part of the success formula for the business and the industry.
Yes.
And so that is the mission, right, that we're really after, is to be
Yeah.
able to raise the industry, raise the teams. And a team can be an agent and an admin. It doesn't have to be any big fancy thing, because all of them have value. And at the core, they are two people, right, individually, who are bringing their best selves every day to whatever is happening in the business. And from there, right, we can do great things.
Exactly.
It's great to talk to you about this. So how do people sign up and how do they get to know more?
To get to know more, just head to my website, iloveitwhen.org, and I'll put the link in the comments here. But you can also reach out to me directly and just shoot me an email, mo@iloveitwhen.org. If you want to have a Zoom call with me, I've been Zooming with people for the last couple of weeks and sharing this with them. And I know that oftentimes if you don't know me and you've never met me and you're like, why should I send my admin to your event? You might want to get to know me first. So I'm happy to hop on a call with you and chat with you about my real estate experience and how I am where I am today. But the deadline to sign up is March 15th. So we've got about a week and a half left.
And what is the price? What is
the price is $2,000, and that covers your lodging, because we'll be in a VRBO together, and it covers all of your food, and it covers the cost of bringing these speakers in. So Tony Patillo, will be flying in from Los Angeles, and Enmei flies in from Seattle to Idaho Falls, Idaho. So
you have a luxury VRBO. So
yes,
it's a luxury lodge. The pictures are spectacular.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the event is what dates?
May 4th through the 7th. So about 2.5 days.
2.5 days, as Thursday through Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So to be able to have 2.5 days together. And then when people would arrive in Idaho, they would also be transported collectively, right? So
yes, thank you for saying that. Yeah, oftentimes people panic a little bit, like, how am I supposed to get there? And I want you to know that once you say yes, like, you're a part of the group. And so we take care of you. And I actually have, it's really an enjoyable experience to host and facilitate a retreat for admin, because I instantly have like 44 very helpful people who are like, you need me to bring food? I'll bring my Keurig. Hey, I can bring some sleeping bags. Do you want me to bring this? So I have people who have already offered to drive carpool. Like, carpool ends up being everybody's favorite time on the way to and away from the retreat, because you get a chance to really meet a couple of the people. So your ride will be taken care of by somebody who will pick you up at the airport and get you to the house and back. And so you arrive, the goal is to get everybody at the house by 4 p.m. on that Thursday, so we can have time together and have dinner together that night, and then get some rest before we wake up and jump right into the first speaker, and some yoga. I bring a yoga teacher so that we can start out the day with a little gentle just movement and waking ourselves up. So a lot of this also, the essence behind this is also serving the admin at a really high level that we don't normally get access to. So this is an experience that I want you to feel good about while you're there. And it feels good. The environment feels good. The food is delicious. The people are kind. Like, that's also a big part of this.
I'm going to put a little plug in. I'm reading the book Unreasonable Hospitality for a client, because I'm speaking to her mastermind later this month.
Okay.
And it reinforces the experience that I have also noticed and been putting into my coaching for years. It is very difficult for administrative operations people to give exceptional 5-star service if they have never experienced it as a customer. So they may never have stayed at a 5-star hotel or been to a 3-star Michelin restaurant.
A great point. Yes.
And so my memories of being at Ritz-Carlton hotels has absolutely influenced me about what it is like to give service and to teach about 5-star customer service.
Yeah.
So this is also designed to be an experience where
Right.
administrative people get to be the customer and see what it feels like to have this kind of attention, so they can then turn around and do it in the real estate practice and
Yes.
have it and know from the core of their being, like, this feels good, right? This is so fabulous. And so let me give you this experience, right, to a customer,
Yeah.
inside the real estate business, whether you're buying $100,000 house or $100 million house, right? That kind of service comes from the inside out, that kind of graciousness. And so this is also a way in which to give them that experience.
So true. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's seriously a big piece of it. Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
do a beautiful job with spoiling us and treating us
Thank
like
you.
queens and kings. All right. Thank
Aw.
you. And so sign up. I can't wait to meet everybody. I can't wait to see everybody. So come spend time with us and be able to
Yes.
invest in yourselves, invest in your business, and have an incredible rippling return on that.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Kathleen. You rocked
Great
this.
question.
Okay. If
All
you guys
right.
have any questions for me or Kathleen, and maybe you don't know me, but you know Kathleen, please reach out and ask the questions. Don't hesitate. I would much rather have you ask questions than not when it comes to wondering if this experience is for you or not. So thank you for tuning in.
See ya.